Welcome to the Explainer. We're putting our trust in AI to make some pretty huge, life-changing decisions for us. Everything from diagnosing diseases to driving our cars. But here's the catch. A lot of the time we have no idea how these AIs are making their choices. So today we're going to try and pry open that black box and ask the big question. How can we ever really trust a thinking machine?
For most of computing history, a machine only did what a human specifically programmed it to do, step by step. But that's all changed. We now have systems that can actually learn on their own, finding these incredibly subtle patterns in data that no programmer could ever possibly define. This isn't just some small upgrade. It's a massive shift in what computers are capable of.
So what is this new ability? Well, it's called machine learning, and it's less about programming in the old sense and way more about teaching. By learning from tons of examples, computers are basically gaining superpowers, and they're starting to tackle problems we once thought only a human mind could ever solve.
And look, these aren't just some far-off theoretical powers. This is happening right now. These systems are outperforming humans in really specific tasks, like predicting where stock prices will go, diagnosing complex spinal disorders just from patient records, spotting eye disease in medical scans, and even tracking how we move in real time to power the next generation of self-driving cars and robots.
Okay, so how does a machine actually learn to do all of this? What does that process even look like behind the scenes?
At its core, the idea is actually pretty simple. A machine learns from experience, which, let's be honest, is just a fancy word for data. So by analyzing thousands or even millions of past stock charts or medical images, it teaches itself to spot the tiny patterns that lead to a certain outcome. And the more data it gets to see, the smarter its predictions become.
And this learning process, it's not magic. It's a very clear, methodical process. As you can see right here, it's a whole journey. It starts with a really clear problem and a hunt for the right data. Then that data gets analyzed, it gets cleaned up and prepared before a model ever even sees it. It's only then, way down at step 5, that we start testing and tweaking different models to find the absolute best performer, which then, finally, gets sent out into the real world. It's a pipeline for turning raw info into actual intelligence.
But here's where it gets kind of weird. Here's the paradox. As these models get more and more powerful and they start tackling more complex problems, they also become more mysterious. We've basically created a trade-off. The better the model performs, the less we actually understand how it's doing what it's doing. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left side, you've got your simple white box models, like a basic decision tree. You can follow every single step of its logic. They're super transparent, but they're not all that powerful. Then on the right, you've got the black boxes. These are the deep neural networks. They give us these incredible, world-changing results, but their internal logic is just a tangled mess of millions of calculations. We see the input go in, we see the answer come out, but the why in the middle? Total mystery.
And this is where it gets really serious. What happens when a black box denies someone a loan they desperately need? Or it advises a doctor on a patient that's high risk? Or it has to make a split-second decision in a self-driving car? A simple yes or no just isn't going to cut it. We need, and we deserve, an explanation, especially when you've got fairness, safety, and even people's lives on the line.
So, to solve this very real dilemma, a whole new field is emerging, and it has one single mission: to build a window into these black boxes and finally bring some transparency to AI's most powerful tools.
It's called explainable AI, or XAI for short. Now, the goal here isn't to just throw away these incredibly powerful black box models. No way. It's to build tools that can look inside them for us. XAI techniques are designed to take a model's totally confusing prediction and translate it into an explanation that a normal person can actually understand and do something with.
Okay, let's make this totally concrete. Just look at this visual here. This was created by an XAI technique, and it breaks down a single loan decision. The model predicted a 58% chance of bad risk. But why? Well, look at the orange bars. The model was worried that the loan was for a radio or a TV. But now look at the blue bars. The applicant's housing situation and the fact that it was a low credit amount, those were big points in their favor. All of a sudden, we're not just getting an answer, we're getting the reasoning behind it.
And what's so powerful about this is that it's not a one-size-fits-all explanation.
Here we see two completely different applicants. Both of them got approved, but for totally different reasons. For the person on the left, their age was a huge positive factor. For the person on the right, it was owning a home. This is so critical. It means we can audit every single decision, we can check for hidden biases, and we can make sure the model is actually reasoning fair.
This ability, the ability to explain why, that is the absolute cornerstone of building AI that we can actually truly trust. It's the bridge that takes us from just having a powerful tool to having a responsible partner in our society.
And this isn't just a challenge for developers, this is a global conversation. Major governing bodies like the European Commission you see here are putting together formal ethical frameworks for AI. The message couldn't be clearer. Just being accurate isn't enough. We have to build systems that are provably safe, fair, and accountable to us. So these frameworks are built on a bunch of key pillars. Human oversight, safety, privacy, fairness, the whole shebang. But look closely at the list. See it? Right there in the center. Transparency. It's the linchpin. It holds everything else together. Without the ability to see inside the box, we can't have accountability. We can't guarantee any of these other really important values are being met.
So ultimately, building trust in AI isn't really about giving up control. It's about gaining understanding. And as this quote suggests, the goal itself has shifted. We're moving beyond just chasing after machine intelligence for its own sake, and we're moving toward creating an intelligence that we can question, that we can interpret, and that we can align with our own human values.
Which brings us right back to the central challenge, doesn't it? As we build this next generation of AI, we're going to be faced with this choice over and over again. Do we always go for the most accurate, the most powerful model? Or do we choose the one that we can most clearly understand? Finding that right balance between raw power and transparency, well, that isn't just a technical problem. It's one of the biggest questions of our time.